And thank you so much for being with us. It is the Go Show, celebrating all things outdoors in this beautiful outdoor playground of a world that we live in. You can find us on, social media, where you're finding it right now, streaming live on darn near everything. Facebook, Instagram. Instagram's a tough one. I'm assuming that we're on Instagram. I don't know. Because you have to have some kind of a stream key and all that. Yeah, okay. So YouTube, we got that nailed, and on X. How about that? It used to be a bad thing to say you were on X, but now I'm on X. There we go. All right. So thanks for hanging out. Got a lot to get to before the commissioner of Arizona Game and Fish's commission joins us. Okay. Commissioner James Goughnour was going to join us. And as early as this coming Friday, the commission may or may not make a decision or a move on auction tags. Now, if you missed our auction tag debates, go ahead and hit the podcast. You find the podcast on Spotify and wherever you get your stuff, and iHeart as well. It's a crazy debate. I still don't understand it. So what I did before the commission rules as the commission does, I'm going to get the commissioner on to talk about why. I was going to have Steve Clark on, and I was going to have maybe Terry Herndon on, one of the big critter group heads, and to find out why we don't need to get rid of auction tags. I already know the argument because I'm on their side. So we don't need to waste the time. And not that having Steve Clark or Terry on is a waste of time. It's just that we're singing the same song. We're rowing in the same boat. I don't understand it. So in just a few moments, we're going to have James Goughnour on, and he's going to explain it all to us, at least from the commissioner's point of view, what the hassle is. It's not for or against. I doubt he's going to be for or against before they make a decision on it. So we're just going to get to the bottom of the side that made it an issue. Does that make sense? Okay, we're going to go with that. So moving on, let's get to it. It was an amazing experience at Blue Rooster Hunting Ranch. You can find them at Hunt Blue Rooster. And this was going to be Slavo Jr., the princess herself, out getting her Watusi. John Internuge, my son, got the bison that Daddy Slavo and I have split, and we're going to split the Watusi. So we said, let's let our kids harvest it. That's a cool experience. So John takes his bison. Now, understand, Princess Slavo is, I believe, 9. Dang it, Uncle Mike should know these things. Is about 9-ish. And is never taken game before. So this was going to be her first hunt. And if you remember from last week, I used this example as a dad that was ready for their child to hunt, and a mom that was like, maybe not the right time. So the nature nurture discussion that we had last week kind of went into play. So I grabbed Intern Beans because Princess Slavo was at Intern Bean's hunt when she took the big giant hog, when she was charged. It was adrenaline pumping. She was it was nuts. So she was there. So of course, Intern Bean's going to be there. Intern Sarah had prior obligations as her man is serving our great nation. So she had obligations, and she's a teacher. Ugh, could you imagine? Can you imagine, by the way, I know this is a total side note for the outdoor show, but could you imagine being a teacher these days? Forget it. I mean, forget it. Where did we become lunatics? Wow. I mean, I understand there's things that we don't agree with as far as curriculum are concerned, but dang. Woo. Hey, it ain't the teacher's fault. Teacher's like, I'm just doing what I'm told. I'm teaching reading. Intern Sarah teaches reading. Holy cow. It's not like either the kid can read or the kid can't read. I'm sorry, Mrs. Jones. Either your child can read or your child can't read, or your child can comprehend or can't comprehend. I'm trying. All right. Anyway, she had prior obligations. So I ran up and snatched Intern Beans up from Northern Arizona University. And we headed east on I-40 to the spot. Now, it was interesting because Beans gets in the truck with me and she said, Dad, what's with all this wind? And I'm like, I don't know. It's windy. And she said, no, what's with all the wind? And I'm like, I don't know, honey. Why are you asking me what the wind is? She goes, well, you know everything. That's good parenting right there. Let me tell you. No, I had to tell her dad does not know everything. I have no idea why it's so dang windy. It's crazy out. It was windy. It was pretty blustery in Flagstaff. So rolling out on I-40 past Holbrook, it might have been one of the diciest drives I've had. There were semis that were not doing so good. There were semis that if there were not wind, you would call the authorities and say, get this truck off the road. Drivers either falling asleep or had a little too many cocktails at the truck stop. Okay. So it was bad. It was scary. It was dicey. It's a two-lane each direction. So 4-lane total, but I'm heading in one direction on 2 lanes. And help me out with that, by the way. It shouldn't be a thing. I know here in the Western United States, we say the I-10 or the 10 instead of just I-10 or Interstate 10. I know there's different phrases of different things, different parts of the country. Is that a 2-lane road or is it a 4-lane road? Even though they're separated by a big median now. Okay, let me know. Let me know in the comments. Hey, what do you call it? It's and the reason why I asked that, this is an outdoor show. So hunting is a big part of our life. And some people will call a deer a 5-point deer because that's 5 points on one side. Midwest, that's a 10-point. Big issue of debate there, but 6 and 1 doesn't have the other. Just want to know if you'd like to share that with me, 2-lane or 4-lane. So heading east on the 2 lanes that were heading east. And I mean, the Falcon is getting banged around, just poof, poof, poof. We're getting bounced around by this wind. It was dicey. I can only imagine what those truck drivers are dealing with. And God love them. God bless them. There was one guy that was obviously never in this situation before. Younger dude as we passed, and we're passing with a quickness. We were passing lightning speed, ludicrous speed, so to speak. So we're passing and just in kind of passing and praying to the point one time one semi was pushing us. We were on the rumble strips. You don't know what rumble strips are if you're in part of the world that doesn't have those. They're the little lines on the side of the freeway that when your car's tires hit, it goes. So it kind of wakes you up like, whoa, it's literally meant to stop people from falling asleep, waking them up, getting them back if they're drifting. Or in today's world, if they're, checking Instagram. So we're getting through these things, getting past these things. We're 2 lanes off the road at a few times. It was as dicey as can be. Finally hit our exit. Finally head out towards Blue Rooster. Now, the Blue Rooster hunting range has a giant, and I mean giant, metal gate. Now, this metal gate is on top of a cattle guard. So, but it's not the cattle guards that you and I know. Cattle guards is, you can walk across cattle guard, no big deal. Not even think about it. But you're in boots like I am, and cowboy boots like I am. And there's these probably 2-inch, probably 3-inch metal tubes that are set 6 inches apart. This is a homemade cattle guard. Trust me. It's beautiful. Well done. It's better well done as the gate. But you got to open the gate yourself. It's not like you, and by the way, the gate's the size, like, think Jurassic Park, like, da, 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 da. Like, you're welcome to Jurassic Park. Same thing. But you got to open these things. The wind, the second I hold it, it's like a parachute. And I am skiing with my boots on my heels dug into the dirt. Pow, pow. And I drop the gate handle. And I asked Beans, I was like, Beans, can you drive through it? Can you get through one side of the gate? Because no way in hell I'm doing the other side of the gate. Because I don't know if anybody smacked in the head with this thing. I'm taking this dome piece has taken enough hits in my life. All right. So get there. Yeah, she actually gets it through. Fantastic. Great job, intern Beans. And we go there, and man, the wind is everywhere. We get out of the truck and you're getting blown over. Your hat's gone. Your hat's 40 yards down the way. It was windy like crazy. And we go on the hunt. Now, I'm going to save the story of the hunt for Princess Slavo to tell maybe next week or the week after. But I'm going to tell you this. It was one of the coolest experiences I've had where things did not go as planned. And when I say nurture versus nature, parents, you're not going to want to miss that program. I promise you. You see Princess Slavo on any of these descriptions, you need to hear that, because parents, this is a dang cool story. intern Beans and I were very, very happy, very honored to be a part of the whole thing. So, either way, the end of the story is Watusi on the ground, and the spread on this thing. I can't 6.5 feet. I mean, a dinosaur. Speaking of Jurassic Park, dinosaur. So I'm very excited to share that with you. I'm very excited to share that, and it's always cool having Slavo there because because of his executive chef training. We had to make lemonade out of lemons because we were going to use the new Blue Rooster Grill, like bad arsery charcoal grill, but it's just too windy. We just couldn't. And trust me, we were thinking about lining the trucks up right in front of it to block the wind. I mean, we were trying everything, but we ended up doing a pellet propane combo deal. So yeah, it was good. We're scooting through these things. I understand it's going to be a quicker show because I am trying to get to Commissioner Goughnour is going to be joining us momentarily, and when he joins us, I'm going to have him pop in and explain why auction tags are even an issue of discussion at this point. Is that fair enough? All right, so let's get to this. This is one of the funniest stories I've heard in a hot minute, and I'm going to, if you'll allow me, please. I'm going to put my readers on. Oh yeah, I'm an old man, and yes, I got my hair cut. Yeah, it's a benefit of having a girlfriend who wants your hair long and then wants your hair short. You just do what you do. You know what I'm saying? All right. Here's the headline: fisherman attacked with harpoon. Okay, right out of the gates. What? Excuse me. Fisherman attacked with harpoon after he and a friend argued about which man caught the bigger fish. Stop. This can't even be real. Doctors had to perform surgery after 45-year-old fisherman suffered a bizarre harpoon strike to the dome piece. Okay. I just said fisherman attacked with a harpoon. Okay, right? Maybe go, arm or leg, or, maybe get one of the hammies and just drop them. Nope. Right to the head. I'm looking at the skull. I'm looking at the actual picture right now. The harpoon is entering right here. So that is a see, so right in here and going about midway through. Now my attack. I've had 2 brain surgeries. My stuff's up here, so I'm kind of feeling what this guy's doing here. This is absolutely crazy. Here's the quote. I was joking with my friend, and we joked about the fish we had caught. I said I had caught a bigger fish than him, and he was offended. Out of anger, his friend decided to aim a fishing harpoon at the back of his head, which lodged into his dome piece. He said, when the harpoon first hit me, I felt the pain in my head. Are you sure? Yeah. And I had he said, I had a cigarette, like you do, and I felt better. Okay, there's a lot to unpack here. So I have a harpoon in my head, and I had a cigarette, and I felt better. Holy cow. So his friend that just harpooned him put him in the back of a pickup truck and took him to the hospital. Yeah. Volunteers had to cut off most of the 1.5 foot long harpoon before doctors could perform the surgery. I think that's probably the best line out of this whole thing. When the harpoon first hit me, I felt the pain in my head, but I had a cigarette and felt better. It's a lot. You know what it's like? It's like what Monty Python. She turned me into a newt, but I got better. Yeah. The angle of the harpoon went into the skull and near the ear canal. Yeah. If it had struck further, it would have damaged the brain, and he would have died. Okay. Duh. Let me break this down. The reason why I bring this up, because it's a crazy story. It's an absolutely insane story. But this was joking. And I don't know how this is joking. I mean, this is like, I think, Cambodia or something like this. It's not here in the Estados Unidos. But if you're in a big, who caught the bigger fish, or whose fish it was, or who had the bigger buck, or whose shot it is to take, who gets the first shot, this and that. Y'all establish this stuff prior to. Please do. And there might be some scratching their heads right now and thinking, why is this even a thing, Mike? I mean, we've been listening to you for 11 years on the show, and what are you getting at here? What I'm getting at here is that things can get taken too far when you're dealing with knuckleheads like me. Period. I love to joke around. I love a prank. Now, I might have like held a spear up to the back of someone's head and been like, hey, I caught the bigger fish, right? You know, as a joke. Not thinking the guy was going to smack his head backwards, and now I harpooned him. And that might have been the story. Or you've seen, I have seen. Actually, do you remember last year, I think it was, when I did the story on the anglers that were putting weights into their fish? They were putting weights in the stomach, so when it came to weigh in, that it was heavier, obviously. And when they got caught, and they got caught at weigh-in, the dude weighing them in was actually cut the fish open and pulled the weights out. The other anglers that were there, everything was said aside from get a rope. And I'm sure everyone thought that. Now, those anglers have gone to prison because this is not the first time that they have done this, and their winnings that through cheating, their winnings totaled over $35,000 or something like that. So it was like grand theft, or I forget what the actual thing was. But the anger that came from those that were in that tournament and were cheated, you could feel it. You could feel it in that video. So things like this, yeah, I mean, in so much at so many times, and this is why I always say, do not drink on the boat. Get a lawn chair at the boat ramp at the end of the day and have a cooler right next to you. Have some drinks. Watch the show. Because the boat ramp is one of the craziest places in our outdoor world. One of the most insane places you could go and witness is if you sit on a 4-lane ramp, or God forbid, a 2-lane ramp all day, you're going to see some of the craziest stuff. I mean, from people that don't know how to trailer a boat, people that don't know how to launch a boat. That's always fun. But the people that are drunk and think that they were there first, someone's taking too long, somebody cut them in line. Holy mackerel. It's fight night. It is actually fight night. And by the way, speaking of fight night, Jake Paul and Mike Tyson are going to fight. Don't rip on that. And the reason why I'm telling you not to rip on that right now, the reason why I'm telling you not to rip on that fight, because a lot of people are. The reason why I'm saying don't is because you are just like me. You're one of my people. You're a Gen Xer, most likely. And guess what? We're going to watch it. We are. We could rip on it. We could laugh on it, but we get to watch a Mike Tyson fight again. Doesn't matter who it's against. Don't care if it's against Pauly Shore. I don't care. You get to watch a Mike Tyson fight. The funniest part, tell me the funniest part of The Hangover is not Mike Tyson in Air of the Night. And then he just jacks that dude. It's one of the funniest scenes. And keep in mind, I believe Mike Tyson's quote was, I did the Hangover movies to support my cocaine habit. If Mike's still jack on coke, I am not jacking coke, jacked on coke. I'm paying whatever pay-per-view I'm in. I think it's going to be on Netflix, but I'm totally 100% in. Yeah. Anyway, where was I going with that? I don't even know what the heck got me. Where's intern Beans? Holy mackerel. I just can't. I can't get to this Jake Paul thing. So anyway, but yes, welcome. This is the Go Show, celebrating all things outdoors in this beautiful outdoor playground of a world that we live in. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to bring in the James Goughnour. James Goughnour is James Goughnour is the commissioner of your Arizona Game and Fish Commission. He the boss man. Somewhere, some way, somehow, auction tags have become a issue of contention and debate. So I'm going right to the tippity top Girl Scout, and I'm going to talk to James Goughnour. At first, right when we start talking to him, I want to clear the air because so many people commented on his reappointment on the commission as if it was some politically biased thing, that he's a career politician. The man is an engineer and an outdoorsman. I just want to at least have him tell you a little bit about his resume. By the way, I think he's had his hands on both rovers that have landed on Mars. Pretty cool, right? All right. James Goughnour coming up next right here on the Go Show. Stay tight. And as committed, I told you I'm going to have him go to the tippy top, Girl Scout. We go right to the top. Commissioner James Goughnour joins us. And Commissioner, I'm going to jump right into this because before, I would say, beginning of last week, so 2 weeks ago, I'll just say, I didn't think there was any problem, any issue with the tags, the auction tags, which we know gives hundreds and hundreds of thousands, combined millions, to on-the-ground conservation efforts. I didn't think anything was wrong. I didn't think there was a problem. Now I hear that the commission might be making recommendations or ruling on auction tags, whether to have or not to have. How did this become a thing? Why is this an issue, even of discussion? Help us out if you could.
Yep, I bet. Well, thanks, Mike, for the opportunity. Appreciate the just the willingness to work with my schedule to make sure we could make this happen. Like every story, it seems like with the Game and Fish Department, you have to go back in history because this is not a new topic. This has been going on for as long as I've been on the commission, and I'm sure longer than that. And there's been a growing resistance or a growing discontent among hunting communities for hunts in all of the Western states. Hunting is very popular in Arizona. Every single draw that we hold in the state of Arizona, we set a record for the number of applicants that we have. Utah, Colorado, New Mexico, Wyoming, we all do. That's how popular it is to fish out or to hunt and fish out here. So, we have a bonus program that if people don't get drawn, they get a bonus point, and they can accumulate these bonus points. And we have maximum that you can accumulate, and it's 20 on some species. So for 20 years, some person is going in and they're buying a hunting license in this case. They aren't lucky enough to get drawn for elk, mule deer, or sheep, just as an example. And so after 20 years of doing this and frustration and putting a lot of money into supporting the Game and Fish Department, there's an auction tag that's held, and somebody wins that for a great sum of money. And that everybody understands that money goes into conservation. Everybody understands that our wildlife conservation organizations, our WCOs, work very hard to advertise and promote those auctions and to raise as much money as they can. But it's difficult to tell the six-pack hunter, I'll call him, who has been supporting the department his or her entire life, never gotten drawn, and somebody comes in and purchases one of these tags, and they not only get to get the tag, but then they get to hunt 365 days anywhere in the state. And a lot of the average hunters are saying, hold the phone here. Who is supporting the department? Where is this coming from? So as we go back and we look at, our initial documents, like the North American Model for Wildlife Conservation, consists of like 7 tenets that are guiding principles of what hunting, the ethos of hunting that should all be followed.
And number 4.
I've told many people that when I have any difficult decision to make on the commission, I will always go back to the North American model for guidance or confirmation that I'm making a good decision for whatever we're talking about here.
Right.
So you're right. Number 4 is an equal opportunity for all. That's basically what it says. And where it came from is prior to the 1800s in European hunting, the only people that were allowed to hunt were people that were royalty, landowners, or people of great wealth. And because of that, because all the wildlife belonged to the king, So the average person, it's not your wildlife. It belongs to the king, and the king's going to decide who's going to go hunt for it. When the North American model was created, they looked at that model and said, we abhor that. In America, the wildlife belongs to the people. It is a public resource, which is number one tenet in the North American model.
Yep.
It is a public and it's an international resource. So the commission doesn't own it. The department doesn't own it. Mike Russell doesn't own it. The people in the state of Arizona own the wildlife. So whenever you hold one of these auctions, and the first bid that is made is $200,000.
Usually that's me with the 200K. Just to throw it out there. I like to keep things spicy. If I'm gonna have to go mortgage the house, I like to keep things spicy. Yeah, start 200. We'll go.
You would, me too. I understand. But the minute that first bid is made, everybody except one or maybe two people is eliminated. And so where is the equalness in all of that? Where's the fairness, especially to the people that are longtime hunters, dedicated hunters? These are the guys that are going out doing the conservation work and making things better for all the wildlife across the state. A lot of the guys who buy these tags are not even Arizona residents. They can come from anywhere, and they do. So it's just an issue that a lot of people are looking at. Our job as commissioners is actually pretty simple, and the Game and Fish Department is too. If you look at the mission statements and you take off things like OHVs or safe boating and things like that, the crux of that mission statement says to manage wildlife for today and future generations. That's pretty simple of what we're chartered to do. It's not to grow record size animals or to make sure that somebody can get their name into a record book or something like that. When our job is to make sure that the average hunter has an opportunity to hunt for now and generations ahead.
Okay.
When you think about, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead. Okay, so what brought this to a head? Because it's been at least to me, and after I would say, okay, so we're at 11 years of doing this show. I hadn't heard of this as an issue before until very recently. What brought it to a head? What brought it to the commission? What brought it to the front of the docket?
I think in the minds of many people is this growing concern over this model. So each year, for your listening audience, in the state of Arizona, we have 10 big game animals, and the commission allocates 3 tags per species for each of those 10 species every year. We donate those to these organizations to go sell on behalf of the commission. One of them, by statute, goes to the Conservation First USA Big Game Raffle. And so there are 2 tags left. And typically those 2 tags are auctioned at sheep banquets or deer banquets or whatever it is. So last year when we were issuing these tags, we actually had this conversation a year ago on the floor during the commission meeting. And commissioners openly expressed concern over the model that we're using. And we told people we may have to take action on this in the future. So you fast forward another year, and we continue to talk about that. We've had the department, we instructed the department to go away and come back and have some options that we could discuss. The department held what they call listening sections with all of the different organizations, the WCOs in the state, especially the ones who get tags. And we got their input on, what could be an alternative? What's an option? What else can we do here? And so we're still collecting that data. We're still in the throes of analyzing that. And so at our March commission meeting, we're going to hear some more about ideas and different options that people have brought forward. And then in June is when we typically allocate the tags or donate the tags again to the different organizations. So we're still working through the data, but it's the short answer to your question is the growing concern over the equal opportunity for everybody.
Got it. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So I'm playing devil's advocate. So I'm actually going to propose a solution right on the spot here, live on air. Let's go ahead and say one of the two tags is the Mike Russell tag, because if we make it the Mike Russell tag, and then I can just go hunting all Big Ten here in Arizona. I think that would be good exposure, through the streams and through the social media that I'll be doing for each one. It's an idea. I'll let you go ahead and present it to the rest of the commission. I'm just saying, Mike Russell tag sounds fantastic.
I could make that motion. I don't know that I'd get a second, but
I don't think anyone would throw that in
but,
there.
But
okay,
look at it this way, and this isn't a far reach from that. Today, we've had instances where a tag sold for an exorbitant amount of money. The hunter who ended up with the tag took the opportunity to go make his own podcast of the hunt.
Okay.
And publish it on social media. And so it was a big marketing, advertising. The guy ended up killing a record size elk in this case. And it helped his business. It helped his hunting deal. And I compare that against, what if the average Mike Russell guy won that tag? It's a hunt of a lifetime to Mike Russell.
Sure.
To this guy, the next year, he goes to another state or he comes back to Arizona, he just buys another tag.
Yeah.
Our area is the guy, it's a once in a lifetime hunt. I would be thrilled to watch somebody like that harvest an animal that would otherwise never have that opportunity.
Okay, Commissioner Goughnour is with us, Arizona Game and Fish Commission, and okay, so essentially, if I'm reading this right, because you know me, you and I know each other. I am a capitalist. I am okay if you went out and made your dough, or if you're just a normal guy and you want to mortgage the house and you want to get one of these tags, you can. But at the same time, it seems like what you're saying is this is kind of like, this is one for the guys. This is one for us. The us that have been kicking in every single year. Whether if I put in for a species for 20 years, that's what, $260. It's a lot different than $700,000. But at the same time, it's like it's one for us as we the people, as the masses, right? So I'm kind of liking that. That's kind of almost a nice gesture by the department to say, we hear you, we understand you, we know where our bread is buttered.
I hope so. And from a commission in a department, but I'm going to speak for one commissioner. I can't speak for the entire commission. But for me, it's a question of ethics. It's, what are your values? And are your values worth selling because somebody's willing to pay a lot of money for it? And so, we've kind of gone through these before with the trail camera and the coyote contest prizes that were given, the cash prizes for that. The commission saw these as violations of fair chase, of cash prizes, so economic impact to wildlife, monetizing our wildlife. Those are ethos. Those are the ethics of hunting. And if the commission doesn't have those types of ethics going into this, if they're willing to sell that tag, then that's the trade-off that you're doing. In Utah, I'll tell you, it's a huge problem in Utah. These hunters are going to their legislators because it's out of control up there.
Wow.
When they need more money for anything, they just go sell more tags. Go get somebody to come buy it.
Wow.
And so a little different there, but for me, I look at the ethics of this. I look at my values and how I think sportsmen would want me to act as a commissioner.
So, right. Okay. So this is, and James Goughnour, Commissioner of Arizona Game and Fish Commission, joining us and talking about these auction tags, because I see equal opportunity for all. And then at the same time, it's an international, right? We're an international commodity. So,
Yes.
So I do get the other side of the argument to say, okay, my money spends anywhere it needs to spend. And this is an international. So if, Prince, whoever from so-and-so wants to buy one, his money spends just as well here for conservation, all goes to the right deal. But what I'm getting, and Commissioner, tell me if I'm wrong on this, is that it truly is. It's our team play. It's being considered and talked about and discussed because our team is the one that has built up the commission, held up the commission, supported the commission all of these years. And so this is one for the good guys, is kind of what you're saying. And I'm not saying people that buy the tags aren't good guys. This is one for the everyman, right?
Exactly.
Okay.
So
I see.
let me give you some numbers just to see that. I went back and asked the department how many people put in for our draws in the last 10 years. Okay, these are people applying for big game tags. Now, I don't have it by species, but is the whole 10 big game tags. 3,500,000 hunters have applied in the last 10 years. So when you look at these auction tags and they end up going to a handful of people, and by the way, there are repeat recipients of these tags. That's pretty common, actually. So we're focusing on the big money of a handful of people versus 3.5 million people. We answer to the 3.5 million people.
Okay.
Because we have to manage wildlife for today and the future. That's not about growing trophy animals in the state of Arizona.
So let me ask you this. So, Commissioner, I'm keeping you long. I'm so sorry. I really want to represent the side of people that are scratching their head going, okay, we're trying to, it
Sure.
almost seemed when I first saw it, a solution looking for a problem. So now I'm following you here. Now I'm knowing where you're going. Okay. Now this is very enlightening. So let's talk about those that think, okay, well, if a tag brings in 400,000 and another one brings in 700,000, another one brings in 250, where in the bleep are we going to get that money that just goes away? Poof. Because I'm sure all the critter groups, the Elk Society, the Bighorn, all the guys are going, that's our money. Where's that going? Where's it going to come from?
So, very good question. And you're right. And there is nobody that understands this more than the commission, this commissioner in particular. We bring in millions. And not only do we bring in millions of dollars for these auction tags, they qualify for federal grants. So we can actually get some match money to go along with that and even increase the value of it. So it's there. If we keep the same amount of tags, all we're saying is you can't auction the tag. So let's say, as an example, you do a raffle rather than an auction. Okay. What we're really talking about is the difference of revenue that comes in between those two. And so it's when we hear that it's millions of dollars, it's not really millions of dollars. It's that difference between the two. Okay. And here's the marketing side of it. So now we go out to the average Mike Russell guy, and we know there's 3.5 million of you out there. And we tell you, hey, Mike Russell, average hunter, we commissioners are standing up for you, and you need to help us out. Go buy a $10 raffle ticket. You may get a hunt of a lifetime. And I predict that it might not happen the first year, but eventually we will find ways to compensate and make more money on those tags than we do through auctions.
Okay. And then obviously to be in each of you are there for 5 years, right? Yeah, the commissioners have 5 year stints. Okay.
Yes, sir.
So eventually down the road, maybe look at it like 2 years, say, okay, well, where were we with this? And if we have to come back to it, we might come back to it. Do we reserve, or once you're done, you're done? If we get rid of auction tags are done, and we're just again stuck with finding a new way. What does that look like if we do get rid of auction tags?
So we've actually done it in a couple of different cases. I'll give you just a simple one. We have the 10 auction tags. So we were trying to auction a bear, a javelina, and a mountain lion tag. And we would get on average about $1,500 to $2,000 on auction for those three tags. One of our wildlife conservation organizations had the idea to combine those three tags together, and they got a guide to volunteer his time to guide a trip. It went from $6,000 for those tags to $60,000 to those tags, just because somebody was smart enough to market it a different way and to make it advantageous. So there will be new ideas that come forward. Some have been pretty successful that we've had out there. We need more of them. I admit that they are difficult. And, if they were just off the shelf things, people would have done them already. Right. So it has to be legal. You have to make sure it's not considered gambling. There's all kinds of bells and whistles that you have to go through to do it. But if you get to that fertile ground, there's great opportunities to make money for the conservation of wildlife in Arizona.
And kind of one for the good guys, right? I'm down. Okay, so and then maybe next week, y'all are gonna make a call on this. What do you call it? Do you call it a ruling? Help us out with the commission lingo.
Yes, there is an opportunity. We're going to get another briefing on the latest ideas that have come forward, and the commission may have the option to set some guidelines around how the tags are issued this year, and may not. I'm not exactly sure. We haven't seen what's going to be presented yet, but I am really looking forward to what they do bring forward, and we'll see where it goes from that. I know that a lot of our wildlife conservation organizations want to come and speak to the commission and give them their perspective, and that's exactly why we had the listening sessions. That's exactly why we have a public comment period during our commission meetings.
Well, I'm excited. Well, you're going to come back and tell us what happened. So I'm already volunteering you. You're going to come back and tell us what, when, why, where, and everything that went down with that. Commissioner, I know I've kept you for double the time I said I would. I have one more question. I did. Okay. When the announcements came out, I was one of those that stood up and said, "Hey, wait, everybody, y'all don't know. The first streaming version of this show was actually a lot about you." You can go back and check out the podcast if you want to, if you feel up for it. But once the announcement was made that you have re-upped and you had been nominated to be re-upped for another 5 years running the commission, there was people accusing this of career politician James Goughnour. Oh, he was appointed by a Democrat. Here, we're going to get rid of hunting now on this commission. James, I know you. And I respect you like crazy. That's why I spend so much time on the show. Can you just tell everybody you're not a dang politician and in what your background is real quick for me? Help us out here.
Sure. So I appreciate that, Mike. So once again, for your listening last night, I was originally appointed to the commission in 2019 by then Governor Ducey as a Republican governor. And then this year I was reappointed for another 5 years by Governor Hobbs, a Democrat. Each time that I got appointed, it seemed like there was always some criticism. Within minutes after the announcement was posted, somebody said some things that were just not true, and
I know. Kind of goes yes.
My background, I come from the aerospace industry. I worked for General Dynamics for 26 years as a project manager. So I oversaw large space system type programs, but I've always had a passion for outdoors. I've always had a passion for conservation. I told the governor's office during one of the interviews that from when we were young kids, we were brought up to give back to the community. And I never would have dreamt that an opportunity would be put in front of me for to give back and also to wildlife, my two passions in life that I grew up with, my whole career, my whole background. So I felt like I'm made for this job. This is what I was meant to be. And I cherish the opportunity, and it's a great honor to serve a second term as a commissioner.
And heck of an outdoorsman and a huge conservationist. And I believe if I'm not mistaken, you have had your hands on at least one of the rovers currently residing on Mars, correct?
That's true. I love that
Not a lot
story.
of career politicians can say that. You are not a career politician. We're happy to have you. We're honored to have you, and we're excited to have the level head in mind of a project managing engineer at the helm. So, and one more quick question. I know I keep telling you that. One more. I feel like
All
Columbo
right.
coming back in here. One more thing. Did you get drawn every year, right? Because you're a commissioner. You get drawn, and the director gets drawn every year for all this, right? Yeah.
So we call it the commissioner's curse because it seems like once you get on the commission, you will not be drawn. And I don't
Mm-mm.
know if that's true or not, but in my case, I think that's pretty
Yeah.
accurate.
I gotta tell you, all the talk of the gnomes and the draw gnomes and everybody, all the shenanigans and voodoo that Game and Fish has worked out. The commissioner of the commission and the director I was talking to the other day, not drawn. So yeah, maybe you guys can come up to 7 West with me and give me a hand up there, because actually, I finally got drawn. Commissioner, thank you so much, and we'll chat hopefully next week or the week after, and just find out what went down, where we are in the next steps, and what that means to everybody here in the great state of Arizona. We appreciate what you do.
Appreciate you, Mike. Thanks for helping us get the word out.
All right, we're going to do it again next Saturday, 8 o'clock. Remember, hit the podcast wherever you want to check your podcast out. It's available and streaming right here on all of the platforms. Thanks. Have a great